Hi, welcome to Millennials Ruin Quilting. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Colleen. And today we're going to talk to you about zippers. Because a lot of people are afraid of zippers, and they're actually not scary at all. They're very simple to do, it's easy to install, and you can make a lot of cute projects.
And you don't really need anything for it.
You don't.
No.
You have to buy a zipper. But you can, for this project, you can use scraps of fabric that we're going to show you today. And
zippers are really inexpensive, anywhere from cents to a couple bucks.
Yep, it all depends on the type. There's a few different types of zippers. So we have plastic zippers, which are what we're going to be using today, and probably one of the more common ones. And then, of course, if you're doing like a fancy bag, you can use a metal zipper.
Yeah.
And metal zippers are fun, but you have to be careful because...
Something important, you cannot sew over metal zippers. And I learned that, even though I knew that, I learn it regularly. It's something I relearn often.
I do too.
Because if you use a needle, it will more than likely break and a piece will go flying. But that's when these babies come in. They're so nice. I use my woodworking glasses and you look so cool.
So cool.
But you could wear these or you could just not sew
through the metal
over
zipper.
Metal zippers.
So what I like to do when I'm working with metal zippers is sew up to it, backstitch, and then just kind of hop over it with my needle and sew on the other side. So I'm not going right over the metal.
And I'm afraid to do that. So I just back up, backstitch, cut, and then go back in from the other way because I have the fear.
She has the fear.
And I don't always want to wear my cool glasses.
My needles don't go flying.
No.
But I have broken more than one.
Yeah. But so for this first project, we're just going to start you on a plastic zipper because you can sew right over the plastic zipper and it's no big thing. And you can cut them with your scissors easily.
They're easy to cut down. They're just...
And they're readily available.
They are. You can get them at your local quilt stores. You can get them at the big box stores.
Bulk and Amazon. Whatever's easier for you.
Yeah. So today we're going to make a little zipper pouch. And it's great because the holidays are coming. It'll make a great gift. Last minute thing.
You can pump out a whole bunch and give them to everybody you know.
Can. If you want to, add a little something else, you could put a little gift card inside. Maybe give them $5 at Starbucks.
Or
you gave them a
embroider
really cute pouch, so they don't really need anything else.
Yeah. And you can embroider them, make them personal. Whatever you want.
You can put vinyl on them, give it a decal. Again, that's what the fun thing about this hobby. You can pretty much do anything you want, and it's going to come out awesome.
Yeah.
So the main thing was zippers, and I had the hardest time because for a long time I refused to acknowledge the fact that I had a zipper foot.
Yeah.
It's a special foot for your machine.
You have to use the zipper foot.
Well, you don't have to, but it's a hell of a lot easier if you do.
And
it comes out so much nicer. And so you should.
And almost every machine that I've ever heard of comes with a zipper foot.
Yeah. I think the only machine I have that didn't come with its own is the featherweight that I bought because I bought it used. It's an antique. But a lot of times if you buy a used machine, they include all the feet that came with it.
Yeah.
So you should. Your zipper foot looks like this little guy. You can see it's a regular foot, but it's just more narrow.
And it's got a little divot on each side.
A little, so you can sew, that's where your needle goes through, that little divot. But you can see how it just will kind of scoot right along your zipper.
Yep.
Okay, so...
and do you need anything else?
Fabric to sew the zipper onto.
But a zipper and a zipper foot.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
So today we're going to, like I said, we're going to make a little pouch. I like to use leftover cork from the bags that I make because I hate to throw anything away. And these little pouches are great for using up odd size scraps, especially when they're not big enough to make a second purse.
Yeah.
Just, sad, but it happens.
Yeah. And if you're not going to use something like cork, if you're going to do like
a fabric, a cotton, if you want to use all cotton, which if you're new to sewing and haven't sewn with cork yet, I would recommend maybe starting with a full cotton for the exterior and the lining. But you're going to want to interface it. Yeah.
And I usually interface with, if I want it thicker, fleece. Iron-on fleece, or just like a Shapeflex 101.
Yeah, and that's the lightweight interfacing that we use in a lot of different bags.
And it just makes your bags a little bit more, gives them shape, and so they don't just kind of flop over. It just, and it gives an extra padding to protect whatever you're putting inside it.
So if you want to, this would actually be a really great size for a Kindle.
That is a good idea.
And it has the fleece in it, so it'll protect it too when you throw it into your bag, because we all carry really big bags, and sometimes our little devices get lost.
Yeah. And to add to that, you can really do this in any size, and we'll have the exact measurements and everything on our blog for this one, so you can follow along. But really, you might just want to measure whatever you have and then add about 1.5 inches to the size.
Yeah, and that should
That's a
cover
generally good rule of thumb.
If it's something that's a little bit thicker, you might want to add 2 inches. Because when I made this, I made this one specifically for glasses. That's why I put my little glasses on it. But it doesn't fit my sunglasses because they're a little too big.
Yeah.
So hopefully the one today will fit. We don't know. Won't find out until it's done.
And if it doesn't work, it's a good gift for something else.
Yeah. Who doesn't like a little pouch?
Right?
So let's get sewing.
Okay.
All right. So the first step you want to do with your zipper is on this end with the pole, you just fold back the ends at a 45-degree angle, and stitch it in place. You can hand stitch it or you can do it on the machine. I like to do it on the machine.
So why do you do that, Colleen? I've never done it before.
It just makes the zipper look nicer.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would explain why my zippers don't look as great as they should.
So it's the little steps that you think, oh, I can skip that. You can, but again, it's all about the quality of what you want. So just a little fold just gives it a finished look.
Okay, that's a good tip. All right, let's sew it up.
Let's go. Okay, so as you can see, we've sewn our zipper, and it doesn't really matter what it looks like. I didn't do a fantastic job, but that's okay because you're not actually going to see it.
It's going to be hidden
when the project is finished. So now we're going to take our exterior pieces, our outside, and you're going to put it face up on your mat.
Right side up.
Right side up, right in front of you. Take your zipper, and with the pole on the left, place it right side down. And if you have it so it just kind of, it's a little bit in, you don't want it right up against the edge because then it's going to not quite close all the way. So just have it back a little bit. And you're going to see that we have probably about 2 inches over here. Don't worry about it. We're going to snip it off. That's the joy of plastic.
Yep.
So then you take your lining piece and you put that right side down on top of your zipper. And because I'm using cork and because I like them better, I'm going to wonder clip everything together. And you can see as you go in, you just want to kind of make sure your zipper stays so that all 3 pieces are sandwiched together, but that they're even.
Yeah. Align all the raw edges. And the reason you don't want to pin cork or leather is because it won't close up. So fabric, once you wash it, it'll close back up the little holes, but that won't happen with cork or leather. You'll be stuck with holes forever. So really invest in some wonder clips or any kind of clips, and they just make it easier, and then you don't poke yourself and bleed all over your project.
And I've used a lot. You don't need to use this many, but it's kind of fun sometimes.
Hold it into place.
Hold it all in place. If this is your first time with this, I hope you're doing it with cotton, because cotton, if you make a mistake, you can seam rip it out and start again. With the cork, once you puncture it with the needle, it doesn't really take too well to a second stitch through.
Yeah.
So again, super easy project though. I don't see you really needing a seam ripper, but I say that all the time. And then
guess
what ends up in my hand?
You got your seam ripper.
Okay, so let's, we have the zipper foot on the machine, so let's go sew this.
Let's go.
Okay, so now we're going to sew our zipper into place. When I'm sewing, I like to sew with a 1/4 inch seam, but it's a little tough to do that sometimes with a zipper foot like this. So what I do is I look for my raw edge to come into this little divot on this side. We're going to take a couple stitches, and it's good to go nice and slow. Sometimes you have to kind of help it through to get past that first part. I do like to do a little back stitch. And now we're just going to sew straight on through. Okay, so now we have it sewn together. We're going to take Okay, so now we have it sewn together. We're going to take it over to our ironing board and we're going to press it open, and you want to press away from the zipper. It gets a little tricky with the cork because again it's a bit stiffer, but you just kind of want it so that your edges line up at the bottom here. And if it helps, you can always put a clip on. All right, so let's go iron. Okay, so now we have it pressed. And again, when you're using cork, it's never going to be like as quite a perfect press as you get with the cottons. But that's what the top stitching really helps take care of and hold down. You want to leave your zipper foot on, but because of where the zipper is, I like to turn it around and sew from the other side. Now when you're top stitching, some people would recommend 1/8 of an inch. I like to just have my zipper foot up against the edge of my fabric. So we're going to go ahead. Okay, so you can see we have our line top stitched. You can use a coordinating thread or you can use a contrasting thread. It all depends on what you like. But you don't want to skip the top stitching because when we flip it over, you can see it's going to help hold that lining and it's going to make the zipper easier to open and close because your fabric's not going to get caught in the middle. Okay, so now I'm going to go grab the other side and we're just going to do the exact same thing one more time. Okay, so now we have our piece half done. We're going to just attach the other side. So the same thing, you start with your exterior right side up. This time you're going to take your zipper and the pull is going to be on the right because we're doing the other side. So you just want to make sure all your fabric, all your raw edges line up. That is very important. Of course the bottom ones won't quite, but it should be close.
And then you take your lining fabric and you want to face that down because you're kind of doing everything a little bit in reverse, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the same. I mean, we had the lining right side down on the first step too. It's just your pull is on the other side because we're doing
the other
side. It's
and
amazing how much sense it makes.
Right? And then you just clip it into place again.
You don't need that many. Again, just make sure, I like to check to make sure that all my raw edges are lined up nicely.
Yeah.
If they're not perfect, again, it's okay. That's why we have the little seam allowance because as long as you catch everything.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
If you don't catch it, if you're not using cork, just get your seam ripper out, rip it up, and do it one more time.
All right, so let's go back to the sewing machine and we'll get this one sewed and then we're almost done.
Yes.
I know.
I love how fast it is.
Okay, so as you can see, we're ready to sew again. I have my rough 1/4 inch lined up and I'm on the opposite side because again, we're on the second side. Whoops. Gee.
Go.
Okay, so now we have our second seam. So we're going to do the same thing where we fold it and we're going to press it one more time to get that nice finished look like we did on the first side. So let's take it over to the ironing board. Now that it's ironed, we're going to go ahead and top stitch on this side. And again, you want to remember to top stitch because that's what's going to make your zipper pouch nice and easy to open. Okay, so now we have our piece and you can see it's not perfectly square, but that's okay because pouches are super forgiving.
Once you sew it up, you'll never see that.
You'll never see it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our little bird-like thing and we're going to put all the right sides together. So you might want some clips.
Oh yeah, I will get those for you. Ugh, never mind me while I jump across the table to grab the clips.
It's nice to be tall.
It's nice to be small.
Just kidding.
No.
You're a good height.
Oh no.
So we're going to clip around. Again, you don't have to clip everywhere. You just kind of want enough to hold it in place, and you want all your edges to match up. This might be the part where you kind of have to fudge things a little bit.
And if you're a tiny bit off, that's what the seam allowance is for. You'll never notice it. Is here where you want to remember to open the zipper a little bit so you don't get yourself stuck?
That is an excellent point.
Whoa! Fine. there goes that one. Up in here. So you want to remember to unzip your zipper halfway, a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Otherwise, you kind of like
you won't
seal
be able
yourself
to turn
into
it.
a little hole. So if you unzip, don't forget.
Ask me how many times I've forgotten to unzip.
I've forgotten a lot, which is why I just finished the bag yesterday, so I remember now.
I did too, and I forgot to unzip.
Oh, that's okay.
That was tricky, but we did it.
You can figure it out. Just like get something to jam in there and kind of open it a little bit, or rip enough to stick your fingers in there. And
the nice thing when you're doing like a larger purse is that there's a little bit more wiggle room, so I could kind of get in from the outside and just kind of, and I had a bigger zipper, so I was able to grab the bottom and just kind of snug it down. It was fine. It's a gift from my mom. Love you, Mom. Okay, so again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want them to be close. And you can see I have this bit hanging out here. If you want, you can cut it off now. I usually like to sew everything before I cut it off.
And then trim it.
And then trim it down so that it matches the raw edges.
That's how I do it too. Because if you cut it down too soon and you cut the wrong thing or something's in the way, let's do it at the end.
So another thing I like to do is I like to leave a little opening in my lining. And you'll see that in a lot of patterns. They have you leave an opening at the bottom of the lining. And that's so you can turn your pouch later. What I'll do sometimes is I will find red clips specifically. And don't ask me how often I forget to do this as well, because it happens and then we rip it out. But I like to use the red clips because it reminds me to stop.
That's a good idea. And that back stitch is really, really important, because if you don't, when you turn everything inside out, it's just going to rip your stitches and you'll have to go back and fix even more.
Yeah.
Give it a good, sometimes if I'm really nervous, like if I'm doing cork or leather or something, I back stitch back and forth a couple times because I get so nervous. And you won't even really see the bolt because it's going to be on the inside.
Right. So you're going to start on, I like to start on this side. So around, all the way down over your zipper. And again, we use plastic so you don't have to worry about breaking a needle, but still go slow. You know, you don't have to rush it. We're going to sew across, up, and back down to our next red clip, leaving that little opening.
Perfect. And what size seam allowance do you normally use? Do you still go for quarter?
Yeah, on something this small, you go for a 1/4 inch. On larger things, I will do a 1/2 inch.
Okay, yeah, a lot of bags call for 1/2 inch, but on something this small, you might get a little bit of bulk, especially with the cork.
With the cork.
And if you did find that you have too much, you do a bigger seam allowance and just trim off the excess.
That's just an extra step, and I'm lazy.
Yeah, I'm just giving people options.
Options are great. No, and it's good. Some people will even just kind of clip the corners to make it a little easier to turn. There's lots of different things you can do. Again, I usually do the bare minimum.
Yeah. Millennials, that's what we do. Get her done. Okay, speaking of get her done, let's take it over the sewing machine and you can get her stitched.
Okay, so now we have our pouch all sewn together. You can see I left my little opening. And I'm going to trim off the excess zipper now, and I like to use just paper scissors. I don't like to use my nice fabric scissors when I'm cutting off zippers.
Because it'll dull them, especially when you're cutting through that plastic. Give her this. Ugh, these are old paper scissors. They're pretty dull. Do you know, I got these at the dollar store, and I've had them for probably 10 years.
Jesus.
And they're just now getting dull. I should probably, spend another $1 and buy a new pair.
Yeah, well, that was a little rough, but again, you won't see it. It's going to get tucked in when we turn it. So now we're going to turn. And this is why you leave your zipper partially open. And this is just, you got to push it through any way you can.
It's kind of scary, but that's
There's
why
no
you
science
really
to it.
go back and forth on that back stitch to make sure you have it all.
Come on out.
Do 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 do.
I know, I feel like we should have theme music or something.
Do you guys want music when you do this stuff? Tell us. Give us your feedback online so we know if we're, royally screwing it up or if we're doing a good job. Let us know what you want to hear, what you want to see. Oh, this is coming out so cute.
So sometimes you can use like a point turner or...
Oh, I have a purple thing.
A purple thing.
A purple thing.
That is actually what it's called, thang, T-H-A-N-G.
And
but
they don't cost that much, and you kind of need one of these.
So it's just this little thing, and it's great for poking out corners.
And I use it on a lot of things. Sometimes if I'm scared to stick my fingers in the machine, I use it kind of as a stiletto to help push things through the machine, push out corners. Sometimes I pick my teeth with it. I forgot to watch that one, Colleen.
Lovely.
It might have some teeth goo. Just kidding.
She probably isn't. She's kind of gross.
Not really. God, she's so mean.
Not with her sewing stuff.
I'm pretty particular about my
But I
sewing
have
stuff.
eaten a meal with her. Watch out.
Anyway, so this part, take your time, take a minute, but kind of, you don't have to be a delicate flower with it.
Nope.
You really gotta.
And you have, nope. Well, we're going to sew that open and close, but just so you can kind of see, this is what your pouch looks like.
That was so quick. Super cute.
Again, before you finally stuff it all the way in there, you want to take your lining out, pop the corners, and you'll see you have your opening. But look how naturally it just kind of, it wants to fold in.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually like to give it a quick press, and then I just take it over to my machine, and I machine stitch it closed.
Just a
quick little line.
Mm-hmm.
I back stitch at the start and end, again, just for that added security. Some people like to do it by hand.
Yeah, if you don't want to see
If you don't want to see it, do it by hand.
Yeah, so for fancier bags and stuff, I'll usually do that by hand. But for a little pouch,
Never do.
oh, it just depends. And also depends on how badly I just want it done or my mood.
Yeah, it's all personal preference. Like, for me, most of the bags I make, I keep. And I personally don't care because I'm never really looking that closely at the very bottom of my bag.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm always looking in the bottom of my bag because I can't ever find anything, but that's why these are so great.
Okay, so I'm just going to sew that shut real quick and then we'll be all done. All right, so we stitched our little opening closed, and now your pouch is done.
It's super cute.
And look, it does fit my sunglasses.
Perfect. You look so cool. Mine are cool too.
We're just
Who's more
all
cool?
kinds of cool.
Anyway,
So now, like I said, you can keep it for yourself. You can give it as a gift. You can make more, personalize it, customize it.
and then post it. Make sure you post it on Instagram and hashtag us. Hashtag MRQ or hashtag Millennials Ruin Quilting. We want to see what you're making and we want to get ideas.
Absolutely. And don't forget to subscribe if you liked our video today, so you can stay on top and see all our awesome upcoming episodes.
And never miss a thing. Also, we're going to have this, I think we already said it, but just so you know, check our blog for the actual pattern and a little bit more of a step-by-step walkthrough so you can make them too. Thank you for joining us on Millennials Ruin Quilting.
I'm Colleen.
And I'm Alexis.
See you next time.
Bye.